my camera as well, so we can get started with the session. Anyways, um, I see a lot of new people here that have probably not joined any of my sessions before. So for Lali, I don't know how to pronounce that name, but for the new guys here, my name is Eunice. Been in the space for 5 years. And we have our own paid training program. We used to run these free sessions inside our community. Then we shifted them to impact setters to just help setters in the best way we can. I've got over 15 million under the belt when it comes to DM setting, and arguably one of the best coaches in the space when it comes to DM setting in general. So let's get started with the session for today. Today's session is a bit interesting, something we haven't done before, but it's more on the side of mindset and some of the things that I had to learn in the last 5 years that have resulted in the kind of results that I have today, right? So it's gonna be a quick one, but something that's gonna certainly help you. Let me open up the whiteboard. And the way these sessions work, for the first 15, 20 minutes, we just focus on the sessions, and then the remaining time is spent for the Q&A, right? So in case if you have a question, write it down, and then we're just gonna wait, and then we're gonna discuss it by the end. So again, just to confirm, everyone can hear me clearly, it's good, and everything else sounds good. So let's start with the first one, which is process over proceeds. Now, back when, back in my first or second year, one thing that was happening with me was I was jumping from one offer to another offer in hopes of making some money, right? And of course, back then my goal was like, hey, I'm gonna make like 2 grand a month, 3 grand a month, and then 5 grand a month. And that was something I was looking forward to. And that was the only thing that mattered to me back then. And what used to happen was I used to work 12 to 15 hours a day, and I used to make nothing, or sometimes I could make like 1K a month, right? Now, of course, my goal was to make 5K a month, right? Because the amount of time that I was putting in was freaking crazy. And I was seeing these setters make a lot more while working half the hours, right? So I was like, shit, am I doing something wrong? Is there something wrong with me? I'm doing everything. And what ended up happening was I burned out, right? If anyone says burnt out is not real, do not even listen. It is real, and it's going to catch up to you if you've been in the space for a while. Anyways, what ended up happening was I burned out, right? I was working 12 to 15 hours a day. I was expecting 5K a month. I was making nothing, maybe 1K a month. And by the end of it, I was like, fuck this space. Fuck everything about it. I don't want to do this anymore. Now, back then, I don't know if you guys know Jason Capital, right? So Jason Capital was one of my initial mentors that I had hired. And I was chatting with him and I told him like, bro, this is what's happening with me. And he told me about this topic, which is process over proceeds, right? It's a really simple concept. It's like you spend 99% of your life in the process, right? The process of learning a skill, the process of doing the skill, the process of waking up every day, working, for 12, 15 hours a day. And then the proceeds are those 10K months, going out for lunch with your family, going out with your friends, enjoying the proceeds of the process. And he told me, Eunice, you're only going to spend 5% of your life actually enjoying the proceeds. You're only going to spend 5% of your life going on vacations. You're going to spend 5% of your life going on good, dinners and with friends and, celebrating the 10K months, but you're going to spend 95% of your life in the process of working and learning the skill and improving and just crafting and just working on your craft. And he said, if you're just completely focused on the proceeds, you're wasting 95% of your life. And I was like, that's true, right? Because I'm working, but I'm only working because I want to get that proceed. I want to get that 5K a month, I want to get that 10K a month. But in reality, he was like, you should actually celebrate the idea of being able to work 12 to 15 hours a day and the person that it's helping you becoming. The proceeds, it's nothing but a benefit. It's a bonus for the work you're doing. It's something that God is like, sure, this guy's working. I'm just going to give them the bonus. The real reward, the real benefit is the fact you're working 12 to 15 hours a day in a space that's going to benefit you immensely in the future. That's the actual benefit. It's not the proceeds. If you're only focused on the proceeds and if you're only in this space because you want to make those 5 to 10 grand a month, you're going to burn out because this space is going to test you. So rather than focusing on the proceeds, focus on the process and learn to enjoy it so you don't end up wasting 95% of your life or you don't end up burning out like I did in the beginning of my journey. Now, the second point is also really interesting. Let me just remove this up. There we go. The second part of this equation is environment over willpower and extreme accountability and brutal honesty with yourself, and then external and internal accountability. Now, I don't know if you guys know about my story, but my father was a driver, my mother uneducated, a housewife. And I don't remember we had a single relative that had some money. Like all of them were broke. Right? That's how I grew up. Just being surrounded by those people. Now, when you're surrounded by those people, you limit your thinking, you limit your vision, you limit how much you can achieve. You start thinking like them, and it's not your fault, right? It's not your fault. That's how you've been grew up, right? That's how you grew up. You were surrounded by them, and that's what you know, and that's the best you know. But one thing that I realized is it's always environment over willpower. For example, let me put you in let me give you another story. This is an interesting one. So back about 2 years ago, I decided to call some of my friends in the same space in the sales space, come over at my place. And the whole idea was we're gonna spend a day of working together, right? So you're gonna, sit in this corner, he's gonna sit in that corner, I'm gonna be on my laptop, he can sit in that corner, we all would be working, we would catch up, then we're gonna have some dinner, and then we can go back home. Now, in the middle of the day, two of my friends, it was like we're 6, 7 hours into the day, by the way, right? Two of my friends, they came up to me and they were like, bro, this is the most productive day that we've ever had. Like Eunice, like today, bro, sheesh, man, like it was so freaking productive. Like I worked like 7 hours, bro. I could never do that at home. And in the back of my mind, I was like, bro, that's half of my day. Like I work 14, 15. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Does that even make sense? Right? And that's when I realized that it's environment over willpower. The people that you're surrounded with are not used to showing up with high standards. They're not used to working 12 to 15 hours a day and working on something greater than themselves, right? And what that does to you is, of course, you get back your comfort zone, right? Because you wake up and I might be a bit harsh here, but your siblings, right, or your family, they're lazy. They're sitting at the TV and they're watching that for like 6 hours. Then they may stand up and eat a bit of food, and then they lay back down, and then they go for a walk, come back, watch TV again, use their phone. Of course, it's gonna affect you, right? Because that's the environment that you're in. So if you want ultimate growth, a simple thing that you can do is just change your environment. Just change it. Surround yourself with people that have high standards. Now, this doesn't have to be virtual, because of course, even with virtual, you can only do so much, right? But you have working spaces, right? Co-working spaces. We have that here in Pakistan, and I've been to a few and they work great. You're surrounded by people working on something. All of us are on their laptops, we're working, we're having fun, and then we might have dinner or something, and then we're back home, right? So it's environment over willpower. Another example of this is I don't like keeping my phone on my table, right? The reason being is I believe if it's on my table, I may be tempted to use it, right? For example, let's say I open up Chrome and it's taken a bit of time, it's loading up. My first instinct would be to pick up my phone and check it out, right? As it's loading up. Then when it's loaded, I would keep my phone back, and then I would get back to work, right? Now, I don't do that because I don't have any self-control, but at the same time, I know that I would be tempted, and I don't want to test my willpower because I may fail. So I'm just going to keep it in the other room and make sure it's not even in my eyesight in my eyesight, and I don't pick it up, right? So it's environment over willpower, right? You position yourself and you keep yourself in an environment where you don't have these things that can hold you back from achieving the ultimate goal. The second part to this is extreme accountability and brutal honesty. Now, we as humans, we love to have a certain perceptions of ourselves in the eyes of other people, right? We struggle with admitting that we're not working. We struggle with admitting that, we might suck, right? I suck at this, right? Or perhaps I don't know what I'm doing and I'm confused and I need some help, right? Or the fact that, like my standards are super low and I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, but still I blame everything else but myself, right? It takes a lot of courage to say those things. And doesn't matter the stage that you're in, you're always going to have those thoughts. Even at the stage that I'm at, I still procrastinate at times, right? Because of course it's habits, it's built up over years. There are days where I procrastinate, there are days where I don't feel like myself, right? Of course, I don't make a post on that, I don't talk about it, but I would write it down and journal it. And I make sure that I'm being brutally honest with myself and I'm not lying to myself. A lot of people would do like 20 outreaches a day when they're finding a job, and they're going to be like, oh, I did good work, I should be proud of myself, it's okay that I'm not getting a job, I'm going to keep on working on it, and it's baby steps, I'm doing at least something. Don't do that, because 20 outreaches a day is nothing. You could do 60 and 80 a day. You could reach out on LinkedIn. You could reach out on Facebook. You could reach out on Instagram. You could use emails. There's a lot more that you can do. At least be be extremely accountable and honest with yourself on where you at with life. And why do you have to do this is because you have to realize that you and I have nothing in different. I'm not different than you. You're not different than me. We breathe the same air. We're humans. The only thing that's different between us is the decisions that we've made in our lives, right? All of us are born naked, afraid, and without any thoughts. And the life that you have today is nothing but an accumulation of the decisions that you made in your life. The only reason I'm here is because I might have made a few different decisions than you, which means if you make a few different decisions, you can get to the point where I am today. There's no difference. I just took some different decisions. And to take those decisions, you have to be extremely accountable and honest with yourself. Because if you're not being honest with yourself, you would never have the clarity to know which decision would be the next, which decision would be the best to take next, right? So be extremely accountable and brutally honest with yourself because that's what it takes. And if you want to take it a step further, is surround yourself in a group and be like, hey, by the end of the day, let's send an accountability post of what each of us did in the day. And if we sucked or if we failed or if we actually achieved the target that we set for the day. That way you're not alone. That way you're holding them accountable. They're holding you accountable. You have a community. You're pushing each other. And that's what I do even at this stage. I would jump on a call with Kareem, I would have a chat with him. I would figure out, I would tell him like where I'm at, where I'm struggling, what I'm messing out upon, what I'm messing up, what I need help with. That's what we do, right? Because of course you need that accountability. You need that help, right? So I hope that helps. Now, the third one is also a really interesting one. It's called creating a role model you never had. Now, I love my father. Right, I think everyone else here loves their father as well. Like, and all of us believe, like our parents are the best parents in the world. Like, my father, I couldn't have wished for a better father, and that's what everyone says. And I love him to death, but at the same time, he's not the person that I want to become, and it's completely okay to say that. Right? It's completely okay to say that I love my father. and he did everything that he could, but he's not the person that I want to envision to become. He's not the, like, I don't want to be like him or in the position that he is in right now when I'm 50, right? I want a different life. Because when we're kids, the only role models that we have are our teachers, right? Or our parents, right? That's the only role models that we have. But they're not successful. They don't have the life that you want. They didn't make the decisions that you need to make to get to that life. So what you got to do is create a role model for yourself that you've never had. For me, it was Jason Capital, right? And for me, it was Dan Pena, right? And a bit of a controversial one. I don't know if you guys would know him. Of course, you guys would know him. It's Andrew Tate, right? Of course, I don't agree with everything he says, but with most of the things, I like the dude. It was Andrew Tate, right? Now, Jason Capital, Dan Pena, and Andrew Tate. The way I chose who I'm going to choose as a role model was by looking at their videos and thinking, would I stand for the things they stand for? Like Dan Pena is the manliest man ever. That guy does not give a fuck. That guy is like, if I want to do something, if I want to say something, I would say it, I would do it. Doesn't matter if I die in the process, because that's what I want to do. And as a man, I would do the things that I want to do, right? And as a person, that's what we want, the ultimate freedom to do the things that we want to do, right? So I went with Dan Pena, Jason Capital, and Andy Tate. And what I used to do was when I was working, I would listen to them for hours on repeat, right? So I'm working, and in the back of my mind, they're playing and their advices and the things they're saying. And I did that for months and months and months and months. And what happens is when you repeat, like when if you repeat something again and again, subconsciously that thing is going to ingrain in your mind. And then those thoughts, the things that you took change into your thought patterns, right? Then you start thinking like them. Oh shit, this is the, never mind. Thought patterns, right? Then you start thinking like them. And then at a time you start acting like them, right? And then you're like, would fuck it, man, fuck this shit, right? Because you learn from them, and then you know exactly what they would do in a certain situation, and you're like, I don't want to do this because Andrew would, hate me, or Jason Capital would hate me, or Dan Pena would hate me. So you choose a role model, and you create a role model that you've never had, and you listen to them on repeat because they have the life that you want, and you want to value the things that they say. And if you listen to them enough, your thought patterns are going to become like theirs. You're going to think in a certain way, you're going to act in a certain way, and that's what you need. Because the upbringing that you have right now is not suitable for you to become the person that you want to become. And I talk about this a lot, which is after a certain age, I had to raise myself, right? You're still 14, 15, when I did not have a thought or, I did whatever my parents told me to do. After that age, I was like, they don't have the life that I want, so I'm gonna raise myself and I'm only gonna listen to the things and do the things that I feel like can help me to get there. And I chose these people, and this is the life I ended up with, right? So choose a role model and pick out a role model that can actually help you achieve the life that you want, rather than having no role model and being a lazy person and having no accountability with yourself. Purpose. Now this is a really good one. When when I initially started in this space, I started because, of course, I wanted freedom, I wanted money, but I liked the thought of a 15 years old working long hours in the online space. That just made me a bit different. That's why I like that thought. I like the idea of, I'm 15 and I'm working so much. Um, but as I spent a lot of time in this space, I slowly grew out of that space, and my purpose changed into making, 2K, 3K, 5K, and then helping, my father retire and stuff like that. And then I spent a few months just trying to think about my purpose, and the purpose that I have is the fact that I want to leave a legacy, right? I don't want to like I want to be known, and I want to help people, and I want to impact millions, and I want to do a lot of charity work, and I want to do all of those great things, and I want to leave a legacy. Like, I don't want my name to die with me. Right? I don't want the work that I've done in my life and that I would do in my life for people to die with me. I want other people to carry on my legacy. Now that's the goal of my life. That's my purpose. And having that purpose helps me, and being that clear on my purpose that I want to help people and impact millions and leave a legacy. Because of course, I was born at a place of nothing. I had nothing, no silver spoon, did not have any support to the place I'm at today and to the place that I would reach. No one can do that. It's really difficult. And the fact that I've come so far is I want to grow it up even more and leave a legacy for people to show to them that it is possible. It's not impossible. It is possible if you just do the things that will help you to get there. That's my purpose. And having that purpose allows me to show up on the days where I don't feel like working. It allows me to navigate through the hard days where I don't see the results of my doings. It allows me to stay in the flow of, hey, I gotta work, I gotta improve, I gotta show up for these people because I know my purpose. I know this is my life now, and I love it. And that's why I never get tired, and I would choose these sessions and the DM setting stuff and the sales stuff anytime, any day. You could wake me up to 3 a.m. in the night and you could be like, Eunice, give us a session. I would open up my laptop and I would start rambling up because I love this. Right. So a lot of you don't even have a purpose. And if you have a purpose, it's so vague that it does not even make sense. It's like, I want a good life or I want a better life. But what does that mean? It's so vague. I don't know if you guys heard the saying with life. Life punishes vague wishes, but rewards specific ask. Right? So a lot of you are really vague with what you want. You don't even know what you want. You don't even know the purpose you're here. And you're gonna be like, goodness, how do I know my purpose? That's completely okay. That's why I said it's almost like peeling an onion, right? So you sit down and you write like 100 things of what you feel like can be your purpose. Like, why do I want to do this? Why do I want to do this? So, for example, why do I want to do this money? Why do you want money, right? Why do you want money? For my uh, parents to have a better life. Why? Why? And you keep on peeling this onion until you get to a point where you're emotional, where you can literally feel the emotions boiling up, right? And it gets super deep, right? And then you're going to realize, okay, that's the real reason I want to do this. And that's your purpose for the time. Again, my purpose wasn't to leave a legacy from the beginning, it was to make some good money, right? But later down the line, my purpose changed. So it's like your purpose is going to change over seasons, but have a purpose, or at least you wake up every single day with a smile on your face that you're going to work towards something that you feel like is your purpose for this season of life. The second thing is the universe does not understand good life, right? And it brings back to the same point I was talking about earlier, is a lot of you don't even know the life that you want to live. You don't even know the life that you want to live. Like, how much do you want to make per month specifically? How much money do you want in your bank account? What kind of house do you want to live in? What kind of car do you want to drive? How many hours do you want to work in a week? What kind of business do you want to run? Do you want to be a DM setter? Like, if I had to like ask you, describe me like the perfect situation of life, like what kind of life would you want to live? You couldn't say it. For example, I talk with a lot of DM setters, like, what is it you want? It's like, huh, uh, a bit more freedom would feel nice, a bit more money, I could go on vacations and all. That's what everyone says, right? And that's the thing about universe. The vague, like the more vague you are, you're not gonna get it. You're not getting shit. Be at the same place you are today. But if you're specific, that's when you get what you want. Specific. Yep, never mind. That's when you get what you want, right? For example, I always knew I wanted to make 10K per month, right? So every decision that I took in my life regarding business-wise, financially, personally, was to make sure that I'm reaching that 10K per month goal as soon as possible. And now I'm well over 10K a month, but still, it's like I was so specific, and that's the only reason I reached that level. A lot of you guys don't even know the life that you want to live. For example, the life that I'm living today, I used to talk about 4 years ago. I used to talk about the same exact details. I used to talk about how I'm gonna have like a 50-inch TV here, which I have right now. I used to talk about the board games that I'm gonna have, and I'll probably have like 50, 60 board games right now. The books, the vision board, the posters, like the life that I have today is not luck. It did not it did not came to be as time went. I envisioned it. I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew exactly how my life is gonna look if I just keep on going. From the room to the income to the clothes that I wear to the house that I live in to the car that I drive and everything else, I knew exactly what's gonna happen, right? So it's like, do not be vague because the universe does not understand a good life. Don't tell me you want to have a good life. Get to the specifics of it. What exactly is it that you want? Even to the hours you want to work, the income you want to have, the company, the type of company you want to work at, the growth opportunities that you want to have, the network that you want to have, the brand that you want to have, everything else, right? So don't be vague. Be super specific with what you want from life. Okay. Now, this is an interesting one, and this may go against from what you guys have learned in the past. But my mindset is simple. You either play to win or you don't play at all. You're either all in or you're just leave if you're not all in. That's what I think. If you're going into a space, doesn't matter if it's high ticket space, doesn't matter if you want to become a singer, doesn't matter if you want to become a speaker, right? An author, whatever you want to do. If you're gonna do it, play to win. Aim for that top spot. That's it. There's no going back. There's no second spot. There's no, I'm gonna be half in, half out. I'm gonna try it out. If it works, cool. If it doesn't work, I'm just gonna back off. None of that bullshit. You play to win or you don't play at all. And the second thing that you do is you have to be absolutely freaking delusional. You have to be delusional. You have to be delusional at a level where people make fun of you. That's how delusional you have to be. And a lot of people cannot do that. They're like, but I cannot see it. If even if I think, me making 10 grand a month, I physically cannot see that version of myself. And it's like if you keep repeating yourself, like there's a really interesting study, like your mind does not understand if it if an event actually happened or it did not happen. For example, if you keep on repeating to yourself, I'm making 10 grand a month, I'm making 10 grand a month, there's no freaking reason I couldn't make 10 grand a month. I am making 10 grand a month, bro. That's like the easiest thing ever. I'm seeing people make 50 grand a month. Of course I could make 10 grand a month. Nothing can stop me. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. If you keep on repeating yourself, the brain at a certain point, it wouldn't accept anything else besides the fact that you are the best. It physically cannot accept anything besides the fact that you are the best. Because that's what you've been telling him. That's what you've been feeding it. That you are the best. Nothing can stop you. You're gonna reach 10K a month. Right? And that and a lot of people look at my life, but it's these little things that I had to do at the beginning of my journey. I was so delusional. I was so delusional. I was doing these affirmations before I sleep, the moment I wake up, middle of day. I'm the best. I'm gonna make 10 grand a month. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And at the beginning, I did not believe in it. But the more I said it, the brain automatically made me believe it. That okay, I am the best, and I'm gonna reach that level. Because that's what you need. Like you have to be delusional. Talk to Kareem, right? Ask him, bro, are you delusional? And he's gonna tell you he's nothing but delusional. Talk with Olivani. Tell him, are you delusional? He's nothing but delusional. Talk to Harinder. Talk to JD, right? You have to be delusional. You have to be freaking delusional. And I was made fun of, bro. I still remember I used to talk about this with my friends, and they were like, bro, yeah, sure, sure. You've already done it. Show us when you make it happen and XYZ. And they bullied me and they did everything else. did not even matter back then because I was so fucking delusional. And what ended up happening is I achieved everything that I used to talk about, right? And now I'm being delusional about how I'm gonna make 10 million a month at one point. How delusional is that? Right? But I believe it because I've told myself I've told it so many times to myself that I feel like the only thing stopping me from reaching that 10 million a month is time. I've already reached it. It's like the time is catching up to me. The reality is catching up to me, right? That's how delusional you have to be in order to win, right? So play to win or don't play at all and be absolutely freaking delusional. Now, this is going to be the most helpful for some of you is learn how to sell yourself. Learn how to sell yourself. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, if you know how you can sell yourself to someone and why they should work with you can achieve anything in life. And a lot of people think learning how to sell yourself, of course, has a small element of skills and the things that you know in life and the result that you have, but it does not cover everything, right? I've seen people that do not have any sales skills, right? They don't have any, they've not taken any courses, they have a bit of knowledge, but they're so fucking good at communication and selling themselves that the interviewer is like, hmm, okay, cool guy. No, I want to work with him. I want to get him on a trial period for 2 weeks, right? Because he's so freaking good at selling himself. The only reason I am where I am is because I sold, because I did not have any skills back then with my first job. I did not take any courses. I did not have any skills. I learned it from YouTube, but I was decently good at selling myself to the business owner that he was like, you know what? He's a young kid. I want to give him a shot. And I've done it time and time and time and time and time again. Being able to sell yourself and why people should bet on you and work with you is going to take you to places nothing else can. So rather than focusing on jumping on interviews and telling them, oh, I've taken this course and I've taken that, and I've done this many roles XYZ, focus on how you can sell yourself and the person that you are and why you're the perfect person to work with, even besides all that, right? Because a lot of setters would say, oh, I'm dedicated, I'm coachable. That's what every setter says. I'm sure each and every setter here would say they're coachable, they're dedicated, they would work 10, 12 hours a day, they would show up, they would, work weekends if need be. What makes you different is what makes you different is who you really are as a person outside of the sales things. What do you stand for? So you have to sell yourself before you can sell your skills. Knowing the right people matters more than anything else. It matters more than anything else. Let me give you an example. I jumped on a call with someone a few days ago, and I got him into my network, and I jumped on a call with him, and that guy has probably helped like tons of businesses scale to like six, seven, eight figures. And he gave me 2 hours of his time. He's creating a 3-page plan for me on how can I make like 50 to 100K a month. And then he connected me with his copywriter and he paid for that. He's like, I'm already paying him. You don't need to pay him. He's gonna write you a copy and everything else. And then he's connecting me with a few other people that he feel like can help me immensely. And he's like, within the next 90 days, Yunus, if you're not at 30 to 50K a month, I would be surprised. Now, how much did I pay for that? Zero. That's how much I paid. Because knowing the right people matters more than anything else. If you know the right people, you don't even need skills. You could still make money, right? Like how do these millionaires keep on making millions? How do like people just keep on stacking cash after cash is because they know people, right? For example, a builder might be starting a project regarding some real estate, and he knows that it's gonna like give 4x returns guaranteed. What does he do? He tells his friends. They're like, bro, put your money in it, 4x return in 4 months, guaranteed you're gonna make it up. They put their money in without even raising a finger, they make 4x on their investment. right? So it's like knowing the right people matters more than anything else. And I see a lot of you guys are networking, and I see it. And it's good that you're networking, but it's like the setters that you're networking with, excuse my French, losers, right? They got nothing to prove for it. They're not on jobs, they're not making money, they're not good at it. They think 5K a month is 5K a month, bro. That's a lot of money. You know, how did you reach that? They're in that mindset frame. And that's the people you're surrounding yourself with. What's going to happen? Of course, you're going to become the fifth of them, right? If you're surrounded by four people, that thing like that, you're going to be the fifth one. So if you're networking, rather than jumping on 167 calls a month with normal setters, you jump on 2 calls a month with actual good setters that are making more than 7 to 10K a month. Which one is more valuable? This one. Because this is a network that you can nurture for life. They probably have good referrals. They can refer you to offers if you just show them that you're willing to work and show up. This this is you doing things and networking, thinking that you're actually gonna get a result. It's like, how do I explain this, man? And it's stupid, right? It's like you're not even doing the work, but you're telling yourself that you're doing a lot of work. But this is not work. This is you literally wasting your time hoping that something does come through, right? Network with the right people. Make good use of your time, right? Knowing the right people matters more than anything else. And some of you already know that. So exactly, quality over quantity anytime, any day. Perception is the ultimate game changer. Now, this is an interesting one. I, as a person and as a human, I lack patience. I have everything else but patience. Tell me to wait 2 years, bro, and I'm gonna be like, oh, fuck, 2 years, bro, that's a lot of time. Can we make it like, 2 days or, 2 weeks or something? Like 2 years, bro, that's a lot of time. Um, wait, what? Oh, I shifted to patience. I started talking about the last one. Never mind. We're gonna talk about the last one first. We're gonna talk about the perception first. Perception matters a lot because it's like in my life, I face the same hardships as you guys. It's not like at my level, you don't have any struggles. You don't have anything to face. You don't have hardships. We have our own struggles, man. You know, I wake up every single day. I have to solve a lot of issues. I have a lot of problems on the table that I got to look after. And sometimes I feel like shit. I'm doing everything and it's still not working and it does not make sense. But at that point, what keeps me going is the perception, right? Is how I look at things. For example, like a simple mindset frame is I have to work, like a simple frame of like I have to work. And I learned this from Andrew Tate. He was like, rather than saying I have to work, just say I get to work. How beautiful is that? Just one word. Rather than saying I have to work, it's like I get to work. What if I did not get to work? What if I did not have any work? Right? Or for example, if you're facing challenges, let's say if you are working rigorously in your offer, you're working 12 to 15 hours a day and you're getting no results, right? You're booking calls, but zero closes. A lot of people would doubt themselves. They would tell themselves they're shit. They're going to blame the society. They're going to blame everything else but themselves. And, they're going to go into this loop of self-doubt, self-hate, and they're like, shit, I don't know if this space can work for me. And all of that is nothing but negative, right? It serves you no benefit. It serves you no benefit, right? Does you absolutely no benefit. How I will look at it is like, perhaps the version of Eunice that makes 10K a month is different than me, right? And he probably knows different things than me, and he acts differently than me. And the only reason he knows different things than me is because he's experienced some hardships. So if I'm working 12 to 15 hours a day and I'm getting bookings but no closes, what is that doing? That's building my character. And what is that going to do? That's going to get me closer to that 10K a month, right? So it's not that bad. It's building my character. It's going to get me to that 10K a month, and this is what I need to go to that level. Sounds a lot better now. right? Rather than just talking to yourself negatively and how everything is so wrong with you, just take a moment and be like, and another frame that I like to use is like, bro, God is preparing me for the future that I have. God, like, I know I have so many great things that I'm gonna get in the future, but it's like God knows that if He gives it to me right now, the version of myself that I am, I'm gonna mess it up, right? So it's building my character by putting me in these situations where I'm frustrated, I'm stressful, I'm stressed out, I'm frustrated, I don't know what's going on, is because it's going to help me to create the character that I need in order to handle the benefits and the rewards that God going to give me, right? And it makes the whole situation 10 times better just by changing the perception of how you look at this, how you look at a certain situation. I get people that are like, I've jumped on like 18 interviews and I'm not still not getting a job XYZ. And I'm like, and they do nothing but negative talk. And it's like, bro, let's change your perception, bro. Every no is a step closer to a yes, right? And the point is like, if I had not taken the 18 interviews, I probably wouldn't be as good as I am today with the 19th interview. I'm way more confident. The way I speak, the way I answer questions, the way I present myself is 10 times better than I had initially started. Just a few more interviews and I'm going to get a job guaranteed because I'm getting good at this, right? Again, doesn't sound that bad, right? It's just you being and you changing your perception on things to make it more positive. You got to be optimistic. You got to be optimistic. You got to think from the positive light. You got to be like, shit, okay, this is going to work out. This is going to work out and stuff like that. Because if you don't, then what's going to happen is you're going to burn out, right? Because this space is going to test you. And I say that a lot because it's true, but this space is going to test you a lot. And then the final thing is patience. And you need lots of it and a lot of it. Because there were times when I was making 3K a month in the beginning, and I went back to having 6 months with no job, to jumping on a job making 1K, to then making nothing, to then making 5K, right? There's like so many ups and downs and so many things, and you're like, shit, I don't even know what's happening. But all you need is patience. All you gotta do is wait. All you gotta do is work, put your head down, and give this space 5 years. If you can put your head down and give this space 5 years, I can assure you it's gonna change your life. It's gonna change your life completely. 10K a month, easy. Just give this space 5 years. Some of you haven't even given the space 2 months and you're already burnt out. Some of you haven't even given the space 2 months and you already feel like, oh shit, this is not working for me. 2 months, bro. 2 months is what I took with basically, researching and going through trainings and XYZ. When I joined the space, bro, I struggled immensely. I struggled for years, but I still kept on going. And this is where I ended up today. So you need patience and you need lots of it. Hope that helps. Guys, let's open doors to the Q&A session. Regarding Q&A session, it can be about anything that we just discussed, or it can be outside of that, and we can talk about, the struggles you're having with DM setting, what can I help you with, Brandon, offer finding, anything else.
Can I go first?
Yeah, go.
Yeah. So, Yunus, first and foremost, I want to really tell you that this call is so high vibe. It is 3:18 a.m. right now,
Yeah.
and I'm feeling like I really want to get into the DMs and just start. It's like, and I was just about to go to sleep. So, thank you so much. This was like, I can't explain it in words. It was such a beautiful call. So, thank you so much for that.
Really appreciate
Um,
that.
yeah, you're really amazing. Uh, I have a question. So I have been, I got on this offer, right? Now, the offer owner has a group of 3,000 people,
Mhm.
but, uh, you know, a lot of these people have been in the group since 2021. He's really
Okay.
been, so they've already been sold to, and, the ones who could be sold are all sold.
Mm.
So now we're getting new people in the group, and we are increasing our Insta presence.
Yep.
But in the meantime, I don't want to wait for the leads to come in, which is going to happen in a week or two. I
Mm.
want to get into the cold DMs. Okay.
Yep.
Now, with cold DMs, the problem that I'm facing is that I'm finding it about their lives and their husbands and
Mm.
the children, and then get to just talking to them about the business coaching offer that I
Yeah.
have to sell, right? So I don't know which part to transition in.
Mm.
So could you help me with that,
So,
please?
so when you say cold DMs, are you like reaching out to people that have like recently joined the group, or are these people like completely cold, you're finding them and then reaching out to them? Or are they from the
See,
group?
most no, completely cold people. I'm finding coaches, consultants, agency owners who would require business coaching, and I'm just reaching out to them.
Mm.
Completely cold on Facebook.
Sure
But yeah,
thing.
I'm only talking to people who have accepted my friend request.
Gotcha. And you're like starting a conversation, you're talking about their life, XYZ, kids, family, dogs, and pets and everything else. And then you're struggling with how to transition.
Yes, actually, two things. One, I'm struggling with how to transition. And second, because I'm connecting with coaches and consultants, they end up pitching to me, and I don't know what to do about that.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Really good situation, and a really good question. So, I think it breaks down into two parts. Number one is if you're too friend, then it's very hard to pitch them. And really hard to just
Yes,
present the idea that you have a service that you're going to pitch them because you've started off the conversation on a really soft note as a friend. So, I think for me to give you concrete, feedback, I would have to look into some of your conversations if you could send me those. But
yeah, I
overall,
could.
what I would suggest is do not spend a lot of time just talking about their family or their personal life XYZ. What I would do is I would just take some things they've said in their post a while ago regarding business XYZ, and I would try to transition. I would try to use that as a transitioning point to go into my conversation, right? So
That's smart. Yeah.
it wouldn't even seem that harsh. It wouldn't even seem that random. It's almost like, by the way, I also checked one of your posts regarding like having a 20K week, last week. How did that go? Or XYZ, and then you kind of have the conversation, some of the challenges you're facing, and then you try to book them in for a call. Regarding the pitching situation of them pitching and you pitching as well, Dan does I don't know if I don't even remember the name, bro, but there's a whole session of that you can watch. Have you watched it? There's this guy that does like DM closing. I don't remember his name, but he has a
You're
whole
talking about
session.
Dylan
Yep,
Gigliotti.
yep, 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 yep. Have you watched a session?
Yeah. Yeah, I have watched a session. In fact, he's the one I'm working for. But the thing is, the way he's like, the way he does it is like really cool. I've seen the session, but
Yeah,
for some reason, I'm not being able to do that. The reason is because I become too friendly in the DMs.
yeah,
Like he's actually shown me people don't pitch to him when he's doing cold DMs, but when I'm doing it, I get like really screwed there.
exactly, exactly. And I think it's not about how can you, it's not about what to do in that situation. It's about how you can avoid the situation in the first place. And the only
Yes.
reason why someone would pitch you first is because you've lost the frame of the conversation. They're the one leading it, right? You cannot
Yeah.
propose the call
That is
without finding the problem that someone is facing, right? So they're leading the
absolutely.
call, they're doing the digging, and then of course they propose, and you're like, shit, I gotta propose as well. This is crazy. So it's like lead the conversation, and the way you do that is, of course, by being less sweet. Of course, be sweet, but focus on what they're doing. Because if you're too friendly, too sweet, you lose authority. That's what ends up happening,
Got it.
right? And then they're gonna try to help you and pitch you on something.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like do
yeah.
not
I
lose
need
the
to.
frame and do not be too friendly with them and try to use something they've said in their post as a transitioning point to go into the pitch and talking about their business. Again, I would have to look into some of your conversation to give you more concrete response, but based on the information that I have in the data, that's what I would suggest to you. Make sense?
I would share some of them. One last question here
Yep, go ahead.
regarding cold DMs itself. So as long as I'm using the coach's credentials, it's very easy for me to, like people know the coach. He's quite famous, right? Like
Yep.
even you know him. So, it's very easy for me to, talk to them about that I'm setting up content, or it's very easy for me to create a frame. But
Yeah.
when I'm doing it with my own account, I find it very difficult to, like, they ask me, what do you do? So then I start feeling a little cringy to tell them that, what, I'm working. I don't tell them I'm working as a setter. I tell them I'm a business development manager or a client success manager. But then the whole conversation starts feeling very contracted. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of expansion when I'm chatting, then there's
Exactly.
sudden contrast. So how do I handle that?
Yeah, it's almost like a mindset issue, right? Like you're thinking there's someone so big and shit, I'm only a setter, right?
No,
So,
no, 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 no. It's not that. It's not that. I don't think that. I think that, if once I tell them I'm a setter, they'll expect a pitch and the whole conversation will become like that resistance to buying kind of a thing, because
mm,
they'll know that, okay, now she's setting me.
so you tell them,
So
what do you tell them? Like you're a business
I tell
manager?
them, yeah, I tell them I'm a client success manager. That's what I'm telling them right now.
Yeah, sure thing. So what exactly is the issue? Because I think I might have missed out on that.
Uh, the issue is I tell them that I'm working as a client success manager for Chat Funnels, which is
Hmm.
Dylan's group, and then they're like, oh, what exactly does a client success manager do? And then I'm like, I bring in more clients. Like, I bring in more clients and nurture the existing clients.
Mm,
And then they're like, the whole conversation and the energy of the conversation kind of changes, or they don't answer my questions, they ghost me, something or the other, like, should just
yeah.
hits
Yeah,
the fan.
yeah, again, exactly. For that, I would have to see the conversation because you might be saying something that would be
Hmm.
causing some sales resistance in the first place. Because that's the
Right.
only reason they're not responding. Because if there's no sales pressure, they would like. By the way, guys, in every conversation, there's a certain level of sales resistance, right? So in every conversation, there's a certain level of sales. People know, okay, you would pitch them at some point. People know, okay, she might be selling me something, but it's like to what extent? Right? Because if it's too high
Got
and the
it.
conversation is too low and there's no value and they know absolutely nothing, they're gonna be like, ah, shit, this is it's just another pitch. But if you can gain their attention, they're gonna be like, you know what, I might be interested in listening to this pitch. Sounds interesting. Seems interesting. Right? Told me he is a Bill himself. Yeah, but she's using
Right.
her account. That's what she's talking about.
Yeah,
If she
right now
uses
I'm
her
using.
account, then she cannot say she's Dylan. That's the thing. But yeah,
Right.
Vilma, if you could send me some of your conversation, I'm gonna review them and give you some solid feedback.
Sure, sure, sure. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. What can I help
Thank
you with,
you.
Swar? What's up, bro?
Yeah, man. Like, I want to ask some questions about the you have a like a DM setting academy and all. So do you scale businesses, or like do you just place DM setters and just leave?
I do scale businesses, bro.
You do scale
Uh,
like George,
yeah.
George need has scale businesses.
Yeah, I do as well, bro. R is not so like we don't work with a lot of clients.
Yeah,
For example, I hardly work with two, three clients a year. For example, the Entrebeliever, the company that I'm working with, they were doing about 10K per month from the DMs when I joined. And now we're averaging about 120 to 150. And that happened within 4 months. And we're getting closer to that 400 to 500K mark, right? And once I'm done with that, then I'm going to leave that company. I'm going to join another one and I'm going to work with them, going to scale that up, build a team, and then kind of shift to another one. I am speaking with someone as of right now to do a bit more B2B as well, and kind of scale that up. But yeah, but I've done that and I do that on the side.
so you have like certain systems, obviously, like uh,
Hmm.
and like you have to talk to the marketing as well.
In some
In like
cases, yes. And so our whole approach, like of course you do need systems, you do need SOPs, but how many systems? Of course, like you just need trackers, you need a streamlined script. You need process in place. You need like a whole EOD meeting times and everything else. What our whole approach with these B2B businesses is building a team that's self-sufficient. That's it. You know, like with DM setting, I try to tend to build a team of people that are Eunice, of people that can think like Eunice, people that can act like Eunice, people that can become Eunice. So at that point, we reach a stage where it doesn't matter what the issue is. I've already trained them on how I think. As soon as they face the issue, they make the decision and solve the issue by themselves, and I don't even need to get involved. And they just let me know this is the decision that I made, this is the results I got. Right? So that's our whole approach. But of course, you do need systems like, scripts, trackers, many chat automations, and in some cases, yes, you do need to get the marketing involved with like paid ads or organic content or the CTAs that you got to run per week. We tend to go live with coaches. I love that. The coach goes live, he does the CTA at the end of it. A lot of leads come in, the sellers talk with them. Like, yes, there are those systems, but our whole approach is more like humans, like building a self-sufficient DM setting team that does not need babysitting.
Yeah, no micromanaging.
Yeah, no micromanaging.
What is this CTA like?
Yeah, bro. So it's like, if a coach goes live, right, he's gonna spend 30 to 45 minutes just training them, asking
Oh, oh,
questions, giving help on Instagram live, right? So it's on Instagram, they give tons of value. And then they're like, you know what? I feel like helping some of you guys. So if you're finally ready, like if you have some capital, like 2, 3 grand, oh, they mentioned the capital. If you have like 2, 3 grand and you're ready to finally step up and make it happen for yourself and, work with me personally, I'm going to be speaking with some of you guys today personally and kind of helping you join our mastermind where we help you with XYZ. If you're finally ready to make the decision, just comment, just DM me the word growth, DM me the word solutions, DM me the word mastermind, X mentor, XYZ, and we're going to help you out. And you get like 50, 60 DMs of people that know it's 2 to 3 grand. They have it. They're super qualified. They're super warm, and they want to get inside the mastermind. Easiest sales ever. Just talk with them, book them in.
yeah, got it. And do you use LinkedIn to get jobs? Like, have you ever used like to
I've,
LinkedIn
n-
to
I've,
get
I've,
jobs?
I've never used LinkedIn. That's a good one. I've never used LinkedIn. Never in my life. Not even once. I made an account on there probably 4 or 5 years ago. Did not even remember my account at this point. Probably we're going to be floating somewhere with a name of like Yunus Khan. But I've never used LinkedIn because I
Oh,
believe Facebook is where the roots of the whole industry is. This is where the industry is. The whole roots, like there's of course the tree is there. Like you have Instagram, you have LinkedIn, you have this, you have that, but the roots are here on Facebook. This is where all the top dogs, reside and they talk with each other. And that's where they stay. I haven't used LinkedIn a lot. I do plan to do that soon though.
okay. So, like you are scaling those companies. How do you get those companies? Through
Uh,
emails.
Referrals, bro. We have crazy referrals. Like the
Oh,
businesses that I work with, I've scaled them to a point is whenever if some business owner reaches out to those business owners and they're like, we need a DM setting guy, they're like, bro, this is the fucking guy because he scaled us from X to X, right? So it's always referrals, always referrals, always referrals. And they're such strong referrals. In some cases, I've charged them upwards of 20 grand and they pay it, right? Because the trust is immense and they've already chatted with a friend that has worked with us and we have scaled them.
can you explain the commission structure? Like how this payment works? Like they
Uh,
give you 20 grand and again
Do
5% to the
you
setters.
are you planning to become like a business, bro? Are
No,
you planning
it's
to
not
scale team?
like that. I just have to ask.
Yeah, for sure, bro. So it depends. With some businesses, there's a small cost of rent. With some businesses, it's 10 grand. With some businesses, 20 grand. With some business, it can be upwards of 50 grand. I've never personally charged 50 grand, but I know people that have charged upwards of multiple six figures, so 220 grand to build out someone's sales teams, right? So depending on the business. Now you charge them upfront, and then it's a retainer. So 200 and, for example, 2,500 per month, or 3,000 per month, or 5,000 per month is your retainer that you get every single month for building the team, and then you get overheads. right? So 2.5% on every setter on whatever they bring in. So if a setter brings in like 500K, like if four setter bring in 500K, you get 2.5% of that on top of your retainer, right? And if you, it's a lot of work in the beginning, but if you scale it up, then it takes like 4 hours of your week to manage one company, and you could be making 10 to 15K a month from one company alone. And if you have like three companies, you're working 20 hours a week, taking home 20 to 25 grand a month, right? So there's a lot at that level, it's fun. It's a lot more fun.
And you also have to pay the setters also, like 5% commission,
Of course, you have to pay the sellers. You pay the
obviously.
sellers
Otherwise,
5%, the business pays you 2.5%. Um, and they do the whole sellers thing. They just pay you on top of it. Good businesses understands how important it is to have someone good on their team that can help them scale it, and they would be willing to pay you good money if you can help them scale it. If they're not willing to pay you money, bro, leave them.
don't work. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, good. Because good companies know, bro. They would pay you money. And if you're actually good at what you do, there's no reason they wouldn't pay you money. Because I've got testimonials from eight-figure business owners, like business owners that were making 100 million a year or more, giving me testimonials of scaling their businesses. Right. So of course I have a lot more credibility that I can use to charge these people.
also like you have your DM team, but you also have to like hire closers too, like by yourself, obviously.
Nope. We're totally focused on the DM side.
And who is hiring the closers?
The team manager, the team lead.
Oh,
Right.
the
So
sales manager.
yeah, so it's different departments, right? So your phone setting department, you have the closing department, you have the marketing department, you have the CSM department, and then you have the DM setting department, right? And then you have the founders. The sales lead manages the whole team. He looks after everything. But then within department, there are leaders like DM setting manager, DM setting leader, phone setting manager, closers manager, and then there's sales lead. In big organization, there are three sales lead, there are multiple DM setting managers, there are multiple phone setting managers, right? So yes, we don't hire closers until and unless we feel like the closers are shit and we need to hire some.
It's for like a big company. It's like the company is very small, like it's making like 40K a month. Then it's like a small company. Then there's no department at all, like closing department, setting department. They may be not sales manager, obviously.
Yeah, sure. If they're making 40K, if they're making 40K a month, I could easily charge them 20, 10 to 20 grand up front because it would be a lot more work. And then overheads, and then I would build a team. Not the sales team. I could get them closers, but hey, I'm not a sales guy. I could not like handle a whole freaking sales team. Yes, I have like a good closing rate on my own offer, but it's the fact that I'm the founder of that. Of course, I'm gonna have a good close rate, right? So it's like I can help them grow, I can help them scale, and with the DMs alone, I could help them make like 200K per month, and I could refer them some closers, but I wouldn't be handling every single thing. They need different guys for those things, and that's where referral comes in place. It's like, hey, I'm not the expert in that, but I got someone that can help you. Boom, make a referral. Boom, make a referral. Boom, make a referral. All of you come together and scale a company. Then make
Yeah, that's a
sense?
lot of, yeah, makes sense. And like you were saying that, you are in this space for like 5 years.
Yep.
You also got referrals. And if a guy starting out now or like later,
Mhm.
he has to start with emails, obviously, I guess. How he get referrals? How does he get?
If it, if someone is starting right now, they shouldn't even be focusing on building departments.
Yeah, not departments, like only the DM teams.
Yeah, they shouldn't even be doing that. It's like you need a lot of credibility to find good companies. The fact that I have 15 million under the belt, the fact that I have some crazy good testimonials is the reason that I get clients. Even if you do emails and if they ask you what's your, for example, if someone started 6 months ago, if they've done 200K in cash collected, how can they start and run a team? The business is going to be like, have you worked with someone before? No, I have not worked with someone. I've only worked as a setter. Gotcha. How would you go about planning and starting a business and charging 10 grand and scaling a business if you've only been a setter and you haven't done anything else, like you have no results to show, right? So it's like if someone is just starting out, bro, just focus on DM setting, make 10 grand with that first, and then do other things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if okay, cool.
Yeah, shiny object syndrome is real, bro. You're gonna feel like, oh, if I could do that, there's so much more money in that. But it's like with your current thing, if you're not already making good money, it's probably because you suck and you want to just want an easy way to make more money, and there is no fucking easy way, right? So, I stuck with DM setting for a really, I stuck with phone setting for a really long time until I had like a 35K month with Wealth Accelerators, an automation company. Then I became a DM setter because I wanted to learn DM because I had done closing, I had done phone setting, really fucking good at it. Then I wanted to do DM setting. And then I became a DM setter. I made 10 grand a month as a DM setter for consistent months. And that's when I became a coach. I was like, shit, I'm really fucking good at this and I like this. Right. But it's not like I spent 2 weeks as a DM setter, 2 weeks as a phone setter, and I was like, shit, you know what? Let me start scaling companies and being a coach. Does not work. People would sniff out that you're full of bullshit. You don't even know nothing. Right. It's like it's better to build that character and those results first before you jump onto other things. And I'm gonna get to you if you have more questions, but we have two more questions that I'm gonna answer, then I'm gonna
Okay,
get back
okay.
to you as well.
Yeah, yeah, cool.
Uh, what's up? Up, shit. Abdinur.
Uh, yeah, yeah. Oh,
What's up, bro?
what's up, brother? I do really appreciate, first of all. Yeah, I got maybe three questions. Like the first would be like you've talked about how can we sell ourselves? Like, bro, how can we do that? Really? I believe I'm stuck at that a little bit because of I tend to have a lot of interviews last couple of weeks, and most of them even like I don't have to respond for them. Most of them, and some of them reply to me like, "Nah, we decided to move some other candidates." So like, how can we do that? And the other thing is like you've mentioned about the kind of the network, the person that you know is like the people that you know, and like even the example that you've mentioned, it's kind of like crazy. We don't have access to that. So like, how do you think we can do that? And the lastly, like it's not like even related to this, but like it's a little bit off. It's about AI, man. Like these days, like AI is everywhere. So like, would you recommend it the people who are starting out right now to leverage to kind of take leverage on AI? Like so therefore we don't have experience maybe so that we can see kind of AI that we can like maybe help them automate some stuff here and there. What do you
Yeah,
think about that?
yeah. I personally believe AI is gonna replace everything. There's nothing that AI would not replace. I think it's gonna replace everything in this space, in other spaces, if shit, even physical jobs. It's the question of when, right? That's the only question. When is that gonna happen? The only way that you can, and I love the fact that it's gonna replace everything is because it's not gonna close off the opportunities. It's gonna create more opportunities, and they're gonna be much more high paying, right? Just like
Hmm?
even if AI replaces DM setting, then we need AI managers that can manage the AI DM setters and make sure they are doing the things that they're supposed to do and they're resonating the way that they're supposed to do and they're asking the right question. That's where who's gonna come in those things? People like me, bada bada boom, we're in, right? That's like it's gonna create a lot more opportunities for all of us, and that's the reason I'm not really afraid of it. That's the reason I don't even think about it much. Furthermore, the question that you had about like not having those networks, and that's true, you're not gonna have those networks. You're not gonna have those networks, and because it's like you have nothing to offer to them, right? And that's the sad truth of the world is like those people won't hang around with you until and unless you have something to offer to them, right? Their journey is going to be of a lone wolf for the first few years until you can become a person of value that they would want to be around with. And that's when you're going to have that network. So for the first few years, it's going to be a lone journey, but you got to do things on your own. You got to learn, you got to improve, you got to stack up those results, you got to build a good brand, you got to build a good repetition, and then you're going to get access to those networks. But if you want to get access to those networks as soon as possible, what do? Pay them. That's what you do. um Dean, fuck, I don't remember his name. The sales con guy, right? Really fucking good guy. Dean Corzo. He has this,
Dean Kozora.
yeah, Dean Corzo,
Dean
right?
Kozora.
He has this program that you can join. And a lot of people that I know that were beginners that are doing really good right now is they joined their program, they got access to the top networks, and that's how they did. But if you're like me, who did not have money, who does not have money when he was starting out, it's going to be a lone journey. You're going to do everything alone until you have the results, which are going to make them be like, fuck, this guy seems interesting. Let me have a chat with him. Right. And then the third question is, how do you sell yourself? And that was a really good question. Is how do you sell yourself? Leo, do you have any pointers on that? Or do you want me to answer it? I'm interested in saying what you have to say.
On like how to sell yourself.
Yeah, how to sell yourself.
I think something I learned from you the most is probably to just be genuine. Because something I noticed when I networked with a bunch of people that had high value is that you could smell like something called salesman breath from me. Like how do I put it? I was like, give me tips. How do you become so successful? I wasn't really trying to connect with them. I was just trying to see what I can get from them without like really trying to provide any value to them. So that's something I learned.
Exactly. You sell yourself by being genuine, and it's the energy, bro. A lot of you are too tense. A lot of you are too tense on these interviews, right? You guys are too tense on these interviews. You don't. It's like when you're, when you give that energy, like, the life gives you back that energy. Life is to you as well. These interviewers are these results are everything is so fucking intense. But when you let loose and you shake your hands and you're like, shit, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna play with it. There's a life. I'm gonna level up. I'm gonna do this. That's when you start seeing those
Mm,
results. Because when you jump on interviews, group interviews, you already know who they're gonna choose. It's clear. It's clear. And most of
mm,
the times, you may say it's result, but most of the time, it's not even the results, it's the way they speak and the way they
mm,
smile and the way they present themselves, right? Um, a lot of you guys don't even do that. For example, if people are like, tell me a bit about yourself on these group interviews, you're gonna be like, hi, my name is Yunus. I've been in the sales space for 2 years. I work with B2B and B2C, with Airbnb coach and a business consultant. That's how some of you act on these interviews, right? If I was in a group interview, someone asked me that question, I would be like, bro, first of all, I really appreciate, you inviting me into this interview with, these amazing gentlemen. And my name is Yunus. I've been in the space for 5 years. I'm from Pakistan. I've worked with a lot of different coaches, B2B, B2C, most of them being BizOp. And I, love music and I love writing songs. And that's what I do in my free time. So much
mm,
genuine, so much better, so much human. You engage the crowd, you engage them, you tell them you appreciate them being here, you tell them a bit about yourself, and you add the extra points. I love music and I love writing songs. And they're like, shit, this guy seems cool, right?
mm,
And then if someone asks me, what do you do outside of sales? I say, bro, I have a really boring life if I think about it. I do the same thing over and over again. I go to the same places on the weekends. I do like, I love pizza, so I go and have some pizza, and then I love to do some reflection. I love reading books, and I play games, to be honest. On the weekends, I would just open up my laptop or PS5 and I just play some games with friends. Again, personality. A lot of you guys are so fucking tense on these interviews. You're like, and that's why you don't get the result. That's how you sell yourself. You tell them that you're a human that they would love to have on their team and they will love working with. And they're gonna love your vibe, right? Because if they're like, oh gosh, I would love to have this guy on the team. I love his vibe, they're gonna take you. But if they're like,
mm.
just another interview, it's just another setter, nothing too good about him. Anyways, let's go with this guy instead. That's what happens with you guys. Because you don't even know how to sell yourself. Does that help you?
Absolutely, yeah, bro. Absolutely, yeah.
I'm glad, bro. I'm glad. Leo, what's up, bro? What can I help you with?
What's up, Jonas? So I got like 4 questions. I know you're like 18 minutes like overdue because this is supposed to be like an hour. I don't
Yeah,
know if I can get all four, so I'm just gonna stick with one and maybe ask you the rest of them like over the
personally, yeah,
DMs maybe on Thursday.
for sure,
So
bro.
my first question was that when you network, I think earlier you mentioned that you met a guy. I forgot how you met him because my Wi-Fi was cutting out, but you said he was able to give you practically like help you and give you referrals and give you a blueprint on how to make 30, 40K a month. Like, and you said you paid nothing. So when he did this, why did he do it? Is it because like he just liked your vibe or he felt like he could get something from you? I'm kind of confused on that.
Really good question. That guy, never mind, I'm not gonna take his name. I don't know if he's gonna be comfortable with that. But anyways, most of you already know him and you know him. Good, good. You know him too well. Everyone knows him. Everyone on this call knows him. Anyways, the reason he did that is because number one, he just loved what I had going on. He just loved the fact that he had sent me some referrals. So what happened was he jumped on a call with some of his referrals and some of his network, and they were like, "Hey, have you heard about this guy Yunus?" Right? And he was like, "Bro, when I jumped on a call with them, they had nothing but good things to say about you," and that made me be like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Right? So the authority was built way before even when we first interacted, right? And then this guy reached out to me and he was like, bro, like, what is your DM setting all about? I want to learn about it because I'm like interested in shit like that. And I told him, I had a chat with him, and by the end of it, I was like, you know what, this probably isn't for you, bro. And he was willing to pay PIF, by the way. So 4.2 grand, he was willing to pay it on the spot, but I was like, this is not for you, bro. You should probably go with X, Y, and Z. He ended up going with X, Y, Z, and that ended up giving him better results instead, right? So like he was like, you're such a genuine guy, you're doing great things in the space, and the fact that I have freaking results, bro, that just makes you stand out. And the fact that I was doing free sessions and helping people, he was like, you seem cool. We jumped on a call. I told him what I was struggling with, and I did not know that he was the kind of person that he is now. But when I jumped on a call, I was like, fuck this guy, bro. Damn, right now, like shit, he's
Uh-huh.
he's one of the top dogs, bro. He's fucking good. And if I'm saying that, he is freaking good at what he does, right? So I
Mhm.
jumped on a call with him, and I was like, you know what, bro? I suck. I was like, I suck, bro. I'm struggling. I need help with this, bro, because I'm at this, 15, 20, 25 grand a month. I want to go to that 50 to 100K a month, and I don't know how to do that. And then he was like, let me help you out. And then he just connected me with a few people, and then he just helped me out. It's like the results. It's like in this space, bro, the only thing that can help you is your repetition. Like what people say about you, what people think about you, and what kind of person you really are is what's going to help you, is what's going to provide you with the greatest results.
Mhm. I see. That makes complete sense. And did you know that Dean Kozora guy that you mentioned earlier? I
Uh,
actually reached out to him,
yeah.
like,
Mhm.
and he said if I was able to make it to sales con, he'd pay for my ticket. I just have to pay for traveling and housing. But I couldn't make it, obviously, because I have school and it's in a different state. So I'm wondering how can I like, how do I put it, become more visible to him? Because he's really big. I still want to keep in touch with him and join his community and everything.
Yeah. So what you do is you absolutely freaking crush it, and then you reach out to him and you were like, "Hey, Dean," and then you ego boost them, bro.
Really.
You
Like
ego boost them.
based on his free community. I mean, I don't think his community is free, but
No, no, no. So you get the results, and of course you've had a conversation. He was willing to pay for everything, and he was like, "Bro, I remember the gesture that you had made me to pay for my t tickets, pay for the sales con and everything else back then, and I couldn't join. But I appreciated that gesture so much that I wanted to reach out to you, and I just want to say that I had my first paycheck of making 3 grand in a single month as a DM setter. I really appreciate you being the guy that you are."
mhm.
Boom.
Yeah, that
And
would definitely work. But like, first of all, I gotta crush it. So
yeah, it's
maybe in the
it's
future, near
again,
future.
wrong word. It's like I would crush it. It's only a matter of when. Because I know you would crush it. It's only a matter of when
Hmm.
would you crush it, right? So let's just stick to
Hmm.
doing what we're doing, bro. And it's easy stuff. It's easy. We're gonna
I
make
see.
shit ton of money together.
I hope so, man. Thank you so much, Eunice.
For sure, bro. Um, do I know Licidi? Licidi. Is that the right? Is that how we pronounce your name? Might be messing it up. Anyways, guys, good
Yes,
session.
sir. Yes, yes.
Yo,
That's how
what's up, bro?
actually. Find yourself.
I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. How was the session? You're a new one. I haven't seen you before.
Yeah, the problem is I'm at home, so basically I'm at school, so I have student accommodation, so I can like show my my face. But yeah, this
All
was an
good, bro.
awesome session, man. Like the mental shifts that I actually learned here, like are mind blowing, man. Like thank you.
Yeah, yeah, I'm glad, bro. I'm glad.
Yeah,
The next sessions are gonna be even more fun because again, this was more mindset. But you know,
yeah,
Vilma and the other people have joined the other sessions, and they're more practical, right? We discuss, follow-ups. We discuss a lot more other strategies with DM setting, and that's gonna help you guys immensely. So, see you in the next one, bro.
sure, sure. And
Lali,
I
what's up?
appreciate Karim actually like, oh,
Yeah, sorry, bro. I cut you off in the middle. But yeah, I appreciate you as well for jumping in. Lali, you there? Is she? Eunice is amazing. Great session. You're amazing, Vanilla.
Hi,
Hi.
hi, this is Lally. I'm here. Yes, I have been listening all the time.
Down
I'm
to
new
earth.
to the industry. I do have some questions, but I did not want it to take a lot of time where everybody was talking, so I kind of left it in the end. I'm very new. I started 2 months ago. I figured out about DM setting and closing when I was looking for a business model to start and talking to a lot of closers. I
Yeah.
figured out there is a stuff called DM setter and the closer, and I started my research and just kind of start training, then applied one-on-one training with sales channel, and then I actually find Karim. I started asking him questions because if I want to do that, I want to know what I'm getting into
Yeah.
and if it's real for me or not. So I just landed. I had a couple of interviews. I kind of had a problem. Like with me, I figured out I have a problem if I don't believe in an offer. I wanted to ask, like, what do you do if you don't believe in an offer that it's gonna really be good for the clients? I don't do like I one interview. I just didn't put all my effort in. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I kind of didn't like the offer. I was not sure. Second offer, I screwed it. I had a very good interview, but I wasn't ready that they wanted to do outreach DM setting, and I never done it. I literally training.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it. So I freaked out and whole life changed, but I got the interview. But then I was like, I did follow up. I said, like, I'm ready, I'll do anything, but they just ghosted me. So, and then I had a third interview with this influencer, and I'm his DM setter
Mhm.
right now. It's me and him kind of trying to figure out what to do with the lead flow.
Yeah.
Um, so, and it's my first ever kind of
Yeah.
DM
Gig.
setting experience. So I have a lot of lead flow. So I wanted to reach out to you and ask you like a couple of questions. How could I kind of
Yeah.
improve my performance and also if it's worth for me to continue or not? I did give him a couple of suggestions. He's like he
Mm.
needs to change the content and stuff. So basically I'm here. This is where I am right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think
Absolutely.
like best way for me was to figure out was it real for me or not, instead of like I have done a lot of training with AI
Hmm.
role plays or DM setting, but I just took the first approach because this is gonna be like real experience. So I'm just gonna
Yeah.
flow with it and do my best, kind of.
Absolutely right. And I'm glad you kind of gave me that overview. I have probably 3, 4, 5 hours worth of resources that I could send over to you. That includes everything from my whole conversation frame, that includes the whole follow-up sequence from the time that you start talking with the chat with the lead to the time they book the call to the time they show, no show, what happened, XYZ, the whole flow. And then we also have time management sessions that I can send over to you that you can watch. And
Yeah, I had a problem with that. I figured was
yeah.
kind of messing up with time management. I felt like I was scrolling more and trying to figure out like, yeah,
Oh,
but
we've all
yeah,
been there.
that would, yeah.
Yeah, we've all
Thank
been
you.
there.
That would be very helpful.
Absolutely right. So I'm gonna send you everything, and then hopefully I'm gonna see you in the session next week as well.
Oh yeah, for
And then
sure. I loved it.
we're
It gave
gonna
me a
make it
little bit of,
happen. Yeah,
yeah, thank you so
absolutely.
much.
Absolutely. Guys, this was an amazing session.